What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode here on the Fantasy Fellowship channel. My name is Kyle. In this video, a PPR mock draft using ESPN's platform here. It's a 12-team full PPR league. We're going to be drafting from the 2 spot. I already drafted from the 1. We took Jonathan Taylor. I did that last week. We're going to try to just do a mock draft a week. We used ESPN for the last one, and this one we'll start using Sleeper and some other mock draft platforms as well. If you guys do have any requests or draft spots or any kind of standards and settings we can do, I can do a custom mock draft for you. But before we get into it, it says the draft starts in about 1 minute and 20 seconds or so. Again, we're starting at the 2 spot. I just want to shout out real quick before it starts, the 2022 draft kit from the Fantasy Fellowship is available. It's $15 this season. You get access to my projections. So you got all the position tabs here. You can actually get access to the Google Sheets document as well, which is, I think, is the biggest. That's what you're paying for with the $15. You get access to all of my rankings and all of my team projections. Like this is the Buffalo page here. So I have a team page for all 32 teams. You also get cheat sheets, you get advanced data projections and things like that. You get access to one of my blogs where I try and post every day, and then just a bunch of good stuff. And we're going to keep adding to it all summer. So check out the 2022 draft kit, and let's buckle up here. I think, again, it's early. I think it's early for mock drafting for sure. I'm doing a lot of best ball drafts right now. But it's never too. It's fun to try and craft different teams and see where ADP is going. I think that's the most important thing. Is you want to see, what round players are going in and start to construct your teams. And if you know your draft spot, that's great. You can start practicing with that. So I'll bounce around from my projection document for my rankings. We'll look at some fantasy pros here. They have Fantrax and Sleeper ADP here, and we'll just get into it. What's going on, Aid Man? Thanks for hanging out. We're gonna try and do a mock once a week, and yeah, I'll send you the link for the next one. We'll start mocking together here. A lot of fun mock drafts to be had this summer. But here we go. The draft has started. And yeah, it's interesting. Jonathan Taylor is the consensus 101. I think in most PPR settings, Cooper Kupp is actually the number 2 guy here. And so the team that had the first pick, they took Derrick Henry. So Jonathan Taylor would be the layup pick here, but I think just for the quality of the video, I'm picking at 2. I think you're realistically looking at Cooper Kupp, McCaffrey, Eckler, and maybe maybe even Derrick Henry if you wish. But I think for the sake of the video, again, we just took Jonathan Taylor first in the last video, so I would take JT here, no problem. But I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp, and we're going to try a wide receiver first round build here. So we'll lock in Cooper Kupp. Just locked and loaded here with the LA Rams. I think he's going to be for sure everyone's wide receiver 1 this season. And actually, for me, I have it really close with Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson could be the guy here too. And you see Jonathan Taylor falls to 3. And then I guess for the rest of the video here, it depends on how many people are in here for how long. If it starts getting auto picky, maybe we'll duck out around round 10. Around 12 or so, but for now we're just kind of logging the ADPs here and going with it. So Derrick Henry at the 101, Cooper Kupp, Jonathan Taylor. Don't forget, I mean, Derrick Henry was lighting it up before he got his injury, and he was being more involved in the passing game. So in a PPR league, I'm not afraid to take a guy like Derrick Henry. I do think Austin Eckler might be outside of Jonathan Taylor. I think Austin Eckler is my RB2. Let me look at that real quick for you guys, and we'll kind of zoom in here. Eckler is my RB2, followed by Dalvin Cook. You got Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey as my top 5. What's going on, Justin? Man, sorry, we just missed you. We just missed you. We'll get to in a mock. Eden and Justin both in a mock soon. But as the projections came out, these are my top 5 backs, and then it's separated really close. More so from Eckler to McCaffrey, those guys are separated by a mere 18 points, and then Jonathan Taylor is still kind of the clear cut above there. And I don't know, it's a good top 5. I think you could see Joe Mixon or Leonard Fournette. I've seen crash people's top 5, but let me kind of recap here. We have Christian McCaffrey now at 4. A lot of people in this mock, so it's going nice and slow for us here. But yeah, so hope you enjoyed the Yankees game. Justin, I didn't get to see the score, but I hope it went well for you. And then Austin Eckler at 5, man. I think if you're picking in the top 5, I mean, you're realistically looking at, I guess, the top 6. You're getting one of the top 5 backs and or Cooper Kupp. And then I do think Justin Jefferson would be the clear and obvious pick number 7 here. I think for me, Jamar Chase, it's really a preference. If you want one of those receivers, I think Kupp Jefferson, Chase, those guys are locked into wide receiver one, top 5 wide receivers for me. So I have no problem with any of them at this point. And then now we're at the range of like, fringe running backs here where they could be, they could be worth it. Najee Harris is technically the best running back left, but I am nervous about Pittsburgh, man. Pittsburgh's offensive line, they didn't even do anything this offseason to improve it. I have Najee as my RB7. But I think if I'm picking in the middle of that first round, I mean, I'm taking Jefferson, I'm taking Chase, I'm taking maybe even Devontae or some other guys above him. And you do see Dalvin Cook go 6, Justin Jefferson go number 7. And then I did upload in the draft kit, I did upload today my top 200 PPR rankings. And then I'm just going to kind of have a mock draft with myself every week and just kind of update this. But I have JT, Kupp, Jefferson, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Dalvin Cook. Those are my lock. My lock guys, I like them all very, very much. And then Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, again, can't go wrong with those guys. But we're moving here. Alvin Kamara at round 1, pick 9. That is a no-no, guys. If you're drafting this year, I am not interested in Alvin Kamara. He's got some legal troubles. It's not coming out until August yet. That's when he has his court case and hearings and whatnot. But he got arrested in Las Vegas during the Pro Bowl. They got him on video punching some guy until he was unconscious. So I'm assuming there's going to be something coming down with Alvin Kamara. If that all gets resolved and come August he's good to go, then I'll change my stance. But as for now, if you're drafting best ball or you're drafting your teams for the season, I'm not too gung-ho about drafting Alvin Kamara this early. I think you'd have to fall to round 3 for me. Who is the backup? It's going to be a mix. There's a handful of guys. They still have Mark Ingram there, but if no Alvin Kamara, you're going to see Mark Ingram, Tony Jones. They have this undrafted running back named Abram Smith that they like. But basically, all this is pointing to me is I want Jameis Winston in the passing game. Chris Olave might be kind of fun. Michael Thomas. We'll see about those guys here. Let's see here. I don't like Kupp so much, like he top 20, but 2 A-Rob. I don't know, man. I have a hard Cooper Kupp was dominant last season. I think his numbers are going to come down a little bit, but you're locking in a top 5 receiver, no problem. And actually, I do have some slight concerns about the LA Rams offense. As it seems right now, I actually don't even have Cooper Kupp as my wide receiver 1. I can make an argument for Justin Jefferson, but I think the consensus will be that Cooper Kupp is going to be the first receiver drafted, but I have him by a difference of 1 point. And the thing that makes me nervous about the LA Rams this season, Matt Stafford's already getting injections into his elbow for some soreness. So that does raise some concern for me. But we're on the board here, round 2, pick number 23. I'll recap the board before after I make my picks. But as it looks here, T. Higgins is on the board, Keenan Allen, David Montgomery, Cam Akers, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Waddle. Mark Andrews is actually my tight end 1 right now. And as it looks right now, I'm not too crazy about anybody here. I do like T. Higgins. I want to get a piece of that Bengals offense. So he's kind of the guy here. I wouldn't be opposed to taking a running back early here, but Cam Akers, Dave Montgomery, I have these guys a little bit lower than this spot here. So I'm going to lock in T. Higgins, who actually outproduced Jamar Chase down the stretch last season. So I'm a huge T. Higgins guy if you watched my stuff last year. And then what we got, is Donald going to retire or stay? I don't know, man. We don't have it's going to be a long summer for him. He's got all of June and he doesn't have to report till July. So I would imagine he'll come back. He's going to have a hard time, I think, saying no to a good team. But anyways, we're back on the clock here, round 3, pick number 26. The guy ahead of me took Travis Kelce and Saquon Barkley. So this is fun. Now, I still haven't taken a running back. I like the running backs later. I think we're going to probably wait on some of these guys here. If someone fell to me, like I was hoping Aaron Jones or Leonard Fournette or someone would fall here. I'm open to Saquon Barkley here. But there's just too many guys that I like up in this range here. And I think I might surprise some of you guys. I'm looking at Mark Andrews. If I want the number 1 tight end, I don't have a problem with that there. But I'm going to make a case for Michael Pittman Jr. And then we'll dive into my top running back rank or my top wide receiver rankings. So I have Michael Pittman Jr. as a top 10 wide receiver. I could have also taken Mike Williams here, but I do have I have some surprises here. Courtland Sutton as my wide receiver 7. He's going to be Russ Wilson's number 1 wide receiver this season. You also have Mike Williams here, who I think is going to overtake Keenan Allen. Don't forget, Mike Williams had some injury kind of early, basically in October, he got injured a little bit. dinged up, just wasn't himself, and that's why he kind of cooled down in the middle of the season. But he was able to bring it back together at the end, and I just think Keenan Allen entering his age 30 season, you might see Mike Williams be the guy here. So round 3, I'm a big fan of Mike Williams, but the guy that I'm really coming around to is Michael Pittman Jr. And he's got Matt Ryan throwing him the ball. So all the efficiency metrics and some of the deep throws are going to be a little bit more improved for him. And he already was a really, really good receiver last year with Carson Wentz. So his floor, let me double check where he finished last season. And they're already kind of saying that last year they were forced into running the ball a little bit more, and that's a product of Carson Wentz. But I do think that this year you're going to see the Colts try to throw the ball a little bit more. And Michael Pittman Jr. his floor was wide receiver 18. So I'm for sure locking in a wide receiver 2 already here, and he's actually a wide receiver 3 for this team that we have going on here. So I think he's got top 10 upside this season for sure. Let me catch up here. Yeah, Michael Pittman. I like Josh Jacobs, but not this early, maybe round 4. And yeah, Travis Kelce. So my problem, Mark Andrews should be going off the board by now. He's a top 20 pick for me. But the thing about Kelce that interests me is with no Tyreek Hill, I think teams are more willing to double Kelce this season and let Juju, let Marquez Valdez-Scantling, let Sky Moore, let Mecole Hardman. Those are the guys that are going to get the single coverage. And Travis Kelce is going to be an interesting point for the focal point, I guess, for the defense. And again, Kelsey's getting up there at age 2. So to me, I think Mark Andrews is the safer play. I have him ranked higher than Kelce by projections as well. So it's interesting, but I'm taking Andrews over Kelce. I do like Kelce if he falls into this range, though. But if you know me, I like snagging tight ends later. So so far, so good, though. We have Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, and Michael Pittman Jr. I've locked in 3 of my top 11 receivers, and I think we're still going to go get Courtland Sutton at some point. But I guess before we get too crazy, I just want to explain most of my formats that I play, and you can start 3 wide receivers or 2 receivers and 2 flexes. So starting 4 wide receivers, if that's possible in your league, I don't have a problem loading up on 4 stud wide receivers. And if I can get my guy Courtland Sutton on this team, I'm going to do so. And he's down here. Aiden, my man, I'm all aboard Travis Etienne this season. I think Etienne, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, these are some of the running backs you want to be targeting in the mid rounds. But we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to go ahead and recap what I had, I guess what's gone on after I took Michael Pittman Jr. You see Nick Chubb, Cam Akers, Keenan Allen, Antonio Gibson. That's a little too high for Antonio Gibson. We're not taking Gibson until the 5th round in this season. Dave Montgomery, round 3, pick 7. There's Jacobs. Jalen Waddle, strong PPR play. And I think he might actually, for me, I might prefer Waddle over Tyreek Hill. I think that's kind of where I stand right now. I have them neck and like they're tied basically in my rankings. I do have Waddle, a half point, just 2-point difference here in PPR league. So I still like Waddle. He's going to catch more passes, and he already has the chemistry. So then you see Ezekiel Elliott, great spot for a top 10 running back last year. He's still going to be a running back too. And that's the price tag for him. Mark Andrews at round 3, pick 11. That's the steal of this draft so far. A.J. Brown, a little high for me. J.K. Dobbins, Josh Allen. But let me make my pick, and then we'll kind of recap that. So as it lays, Breece Hall, that could be a really fun running back here. And again, with our 0 running back strategy, we're basically just looking at guys that could be running back 2s. Godwin, not interested there. Cooper, I got to take Courtland Sutton. He's the best player on my board. And again, reminder, I know this is not the settings that you see here on the left of the screen, but man, I got Kupp, Higgins, Pittman, and Sutton. That's 4 of my top 11 wide receivers in my projections. So I'm super happy there. We're going to come back and grab probably Travis Etienne here on the comeback to be our running back 1. But after, I guess we were pausing here, round 4, J.K. Dobbins, Josh Allen, Mike Williams, a fantastic 4th round pick. I'm willing to take him in the 3rd round. I love him again. He's a top 10 receiver for me. DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts. I'm aboard the Kyle Pitts bandwagon this year again. DK Metcalf, not interested. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I feel a little bit uneasy about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Terry McLaurin, Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks. But man, I'm getting I just took Russ Wilson's number 1 wide receiver. And just by all accounts, from the Denver camps already, like it's clear that Courtland Sutton is Russell Wilson's guy. I know a lot of people might argue Jerry Jeudy's going to have the breakout season, and I like Jeudy. I'm kind of uneasy about his thing that happened earlier this year. A couple of weeks ago, he got I think arrested for something having to do with his girlfriend and his child. So I don't know. I just think Sutton's ready to break out, and all the Denver camps are saying Sutton is the guy. So you see Mahomes go here. Travis Etienne, we missed out on Etienne. As it lays here, my top rated running back is going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and I'm going to lock him in. This is earlier than I usually want to take him. I think in best ball leagues, I end up getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire round 6, round 7. So it's a little bit early, but I'm locking Clyde Edwards-Helaire into one of my running back spots. Again, I know he's my RB1, but I'm going to kind of view him as I'm going to probably try to plug in 2 RB2s. And with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he's my running back 18 right now. And the thing about Helaire is last year he had I can't remember what it was. He had some kind of injury or surgery where he had to drop a lot of weight, and he got down to like 160 pounds. So he was, healing a little bit underweight. He gave a lot of work up to Darrell Williams, who is now gone. They signed Ronald Jones. They do have Derek Gore there. So if you look at just Gore and Ronald Jones, there's no competition for Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a receiving weapon. So I think he's going to be back as a strong PPR running back too. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's a top 10, top 12 running back if he's racking up touchdowns. So I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire this season. After I took Helaire, you see Breece Hall, which I'm fine with round 5. He's a running back 2 this year. Probably not going to get the upside in the receiving game that we were hoping for with Michael Carter there, but it's still a good pick for him to be a running back 2. Chris Godwin, we still need an injury update on him. It sounds like he's a candidate for the PUP list, so he might not even play the first 6 games, so that's why I'm uneasy there. I have Godwin ranked much lower than this. Elijah Mitchell, a fine running back 2. Darren Waller, that's a hell of a value there. Round 5 for a top 5 tight end. Justin Herbert, one of my favorite quarterback values to draft this season. Darnell Mooney, quality receiver here. Marquise Brown's going to be the wide receiver 1 in Arizona while DeAndre Hopkins is out. We also have Jerry Jeudy here, which I'm fine with the value on Jeudy here in the 5th. I'm willing to take Courtland Sutton in that 3rd round range. You see Drake London, first rookie receiver off the board. Miles Sanders finishes round 5. Not interested in Sanders. With Jalen Hurts there, he's just not going to get enough goal line work for me. But at the top of round 6, you see George Kittle, Gabe Davis, a lot of hype around Gabe Davis this year. You see Russell Wilson, and then Amari Cooper. I like the value there on Amari Cooper. But with the build that I have going right now, again, we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cooper Kupp, T. Higgins, Michael Pittman Jr., and Courtland Sutton. In a typical league, I'm starting 3 receivers and 1 flex. So again, all those guys are starting for me. Renfro is interesting. I'm not taking Hunter Renfro at this point, though. Give me Rashad Bateman to be the wide receiver 1 for the Ravens. He's like one of the last stud receivers that I have left here. I think I do have him. Let me see. I have Rashad Bateman as my wide receiver 20. He's the last stud receiver that I have here. Allen Robinson probably gone already. Let me double check did Allen Robinson go already? I don't think I said his name. He might be down the list here a little bit. Allen Robinson's down here. Again, I already took Cooper Kupp, but I'm not going to double up, but I'm interested in that. But Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, these are guys that I'm interested in. Juju Smith-Schuster. But we've loaded up on wide receiver pretty heavily here. And that's kind of what the board is telling us to do. But I'm gonna do something that I think this is the play this year. If you want a quarterback, you wait till round 6. You evaluate who's available here, and you grab yourself Jalen Hurts this year. This is the play. We know what he can do as a running quarterback, but I think we're going to see his passing attributes take off this year. He's got one of his best friends, A.J. Brown, on the team. I think you're going to see the touchdown spike up there for Jalen Hurts. So he's the quarterback that I want here in my rankings. We do have Jalen Hurts as my QB5, and it's really close here. He's basically outside of Allen and Herbert. Those are my top 2. And then I have Mahomes, Wilson, Hurts, all in a tier after that. So I'm going to lock in the best running quarterback, I think, in the league this year. And yeah, Dallas Goedert, you know what we do. We wait for tight end. We'll grab some of those guys later here. But at the moment, I'm acquiring good players here. I don't need to. I want to make sure you guys aren't filling your rosters based on need. Like I took 4 receivers with the first 4 picks. That's just what the board is telling me to do. I missed on Rashad Bateman. That was going to be the pick here. Hopkins, Rashad Bateman. And now it's like, what do we do here? If I wanted to fill my need here at running back, I'm a big Tony Pollard, A.J. Dillon guy. I don't know if we're going to get these guys back to us. I'm willing to roll the dice, though. So let's go ahead and maybe roll the dice on that. But if I wanted to pick a running back here, it's A.J. Dillon. I have him as a top, let's see here. He's my RB21. So I'm into Dillon. I think that might be the pick if I'm pressed for my luck here. Otherwise, receivers, Elijah Moore. I'm not in love with anybody here. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and grab AJ Dillon to be my running back 2. And all signs pointing to this year, the Packers' best offensive players in the past, of course, it was Devontae Adams and then Aaron Jones. This year it's Aaron Jones and then AJ Dillon. I do think we're going to see the Packers run the ball a lot. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league, and you're going to see AJ Dillon, I think, maybe approach double-digit touchdowns this season. If we just look at his numbers from last year, again, I'm willing to roll with the punches. But last year, his last 5 games when Aaron Jones was kind of 50-50 with him in the split, you see a high of 14 to 15 carries. You see 3 rushing touchdowns, and then he's a really quality receiver. He's gonna get you 1 or 2, maybe 3 receptions a game, and his floor is 7, 8, and 7 in these bad games, 10 and 22 in the high games here. So I just think, and again, if anything happens to Aaron Jones, man, you see what he did in his couple starts here: 20, 15, 26, 13. I'm a huge AJ Dillon guy this year. I think he's going to be a huge focal point of that offense. And if the Packers decide to run the football more, they already interviewed AJ Dillon this week, and they asked him, "Are you going to be on the field with Aaron Jones more this season?" And he lit up. So I think you're going to see Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon kind of operate as a duo this season. And let me see here. I don't want Swift or TJ. So I'm interested in DeAndre Swift. At that point, like where TJ Hawkinson's going, I'd rather just wait for Dawson Knox or even later for that. So I agree with TJ, but man, DeAndre Swift, man, he is a guy that really intrigues me. If he falls into the second round, the late second round, I'm interested because you look at his numbers here. To start the year, like 24, 11, 23, 8, 22, 17, 28. Then he gets hurt. But man, his receiving usage is elite. He's going to be up there with Austin Eckler. I think if he plays a full season and he's healthy, that's the one knock on him. If he's healthy for a full season, man, he's one of the best receiving backs in the league. And they do like to give him at least 10 to 15 carries. So I'm open to DeAndre Swift round 2. And yeah, I like AJ Dillon quite a bit. So Thielen he's an interesting. I think I have to update my projections to get him a little bit higher because I'm basically just knocking him down because of his age, which I think could be a mistake because we know he catches touchdowns, man. And I really, really like this Vikings offense. If you can try and get Cook or Jefferson or Kirk Cousins or Thielen or Irv Smith, I think you want Vikings on your team this year. The new coaching staff has me very excited about what they can do. And I just think we're going to see them air it out a little bit more. And yeah, Swift is injury prone. This is kind of my philosophy in what's shaping up. I like the running back value in rounds 7 to 10. If I can get a stud running back with my first 1, 2, 3 picks, I'm fine with that. But otherwise, man, like Travis Etienne, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, these are guys that I want on my team this year. You can get them in the ETN in the 4th round. You can get Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the 5th round. And if you go later here, I like AJ Dillon. I like Chase Edmonds, starting Miami Dolphins running back here. Tony Pollard. I like making it. I want like 4 or 5 running backs here that I can play hot potato with and ride out the storm. Because we know my receivers, man. Kupp, Higgins, Pittman, and Sutton. I'm relying on those guys for sure. But as we shape up here, entering my 9th round pick. Quarterback value is there, guys. Rodgers, Stafford, Watson. I still like Trey Lance. I think he's going to be a lot of fun this year. He's a fringe top quarterback 1 for me. I guess in a top 12, top 15 quarterback or quarterback. But as we pick here, we have Edwards-Helaire, AJ Dillon. We have the 4 receivers and Jalen Hurts. At the top here, for tight ends, you got Ertz and Gesicki and Freiermuth, who I'm fine with. But I think the value here is if I want another receiver, Christian Kirk is going to be the slot beast this year for Trevor Lawrence. So if you want a receiver here, that's the play. For me, I want to secure Chase Edmonds because man, you look at what Myles Gaskin did in the receiving role. I think you're going to see that really just they paid Edmonds a good amount of money to be there. And you're going to see him on the field the most. So Edmonds is going to be a safe and steady PPR running back too, I believe this year, a fringe top 25 running back. And they actually gave Myles Gaskin a lot of goal line work last year too. So I wouldn't be surprised if he catches touchdowns, runs touchdowns in. And I think just the San Francisco style offense that you're going to see in Miami, it really benefits running back. So Edmonds as my RB3 makes sense to me. Kadarius Toney, Christian Kirk go off the board. And now we're back up to pick here. I don't see anything that's jumping off on the board to me. I guess I got 10 seconds to make up my mind. I can't do it. I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna grab we'll grab Zach Ertz here. This is a gun to my head, Zach Ertz. I don't like that pick. I like waiting for tight ends, but to start the year, the first 6 weeks of the season, no DeAndre Hopkins. They have Marquise Brown there, but Zach Ertz, man, I'm fine with him. You look at his last 4 games of the season, straight double digits, man. And I mean, he put up some big games here, and I just think year 2 with Kyler Murray, you're going to see Zach Ertz be just a safe and steady guy here where, especially those first 6 weeks of the season, man, no DeAndre Hopkins. You see 7, 7, 8, 6, 5 receptions in these games here. No touchdowns the last few games here, but man, this is his floor for just, targets. You see 10, 9, 13, 11, 7. I'm interested in Zach Ertz at that point here. So that was the gun to my head pick. And as we are moving here, we have our starting lineup filled up here. We have 4 stud receiver. I think I have 4 wide receiver ones on this team. As far as my running backs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, AJ Dillon, and Chase Edmonds. Now we're going to get to the point where we can just kind of start to collect some good running backs here that could have some value at some point this season. Kenneth Walker still available. I love PPR backs. JD McKissic. We can also grab Alexander Mattison if we wanted to hedge a Dalvin Cook injury. I like Nyheim Hines. A ton of good scat backs. I'll tell you what. I like Kenneth Gainwell as a late sleeper here. He's a guy here who was heavily involved in the passing game as a rookie receiver. Not consistent, but I'm intrigued with him, especially in best ball formats. But as it goes here, we're moving in the 10th round. Let me go ahead and hit all positions. If you guys are liking this draft or hating it, still like the video, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you are new. We're going to be doing, and I guess the point of this, I'm not being too serious. I'm having fun. It's June 2nd as we record this. So I'm just trying to make different decisions and feel different things. This was technically my 0 RB strategy. I would have really liked this draft if we could have got Travis Etienne. We got sniped on Etienne. That would have been nice. But I guess the trade-off is we got Courtland Sutton instead of Etienne. So it is what it is. Again, it's not serious. We're just having fun here. But I'm interested in this. This is a fun quality 0 RB team. And as we shape up here to make our 10th round pick, some players that stick out to me, Ronald Jones is going to be the kind of the handcuff to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's going to be he's not a pass catching back. He's going to be a goal line, maybe in between the tackles running back. If anything happens to Helaire, I'm open to it. But I kind of like Ramondre Stevenson here. I love Dawson Knox. I could legit just grab Dawson Knox and roll my season with Ertz and Knox. That sounds interesting to me. Packers wide receiver Allen Lazard's I think I have him as a top 40 receiver. He's going to be a flex play this season. A lot of tight ends I like later here, so I'm not loving it. But as the board lays, we could always use more receivers. I don't see anyone here that sticks out to me. Maybe Robert Woods. I was talking with Justin about this, and Robert Woods, man, they're liking what he's doing. They traded for him. He's participating in OTAs already. He cleared the ACL rehab, and he's a guy here that I think as a bench receiver, he's probably going to lead the Titans in receptions this year. I know a lot of people like Treylon Burks, but potentially just getting a team's wide receiver 1 at this point in the draft, I think I'll sign Robert Woods up to my bench to be my wide receiver 5. And then the next move here is I wish we could have grabbed some RBs here. JD McKissic is available here. I wouldn't mind that. Keep in mind, Carson Wentz loves to dump it off to running backs. And JD McKissic, if you owned Antonio Gibson last year, you hated JD McKissic. But at this point, beggars can't be choosers. He's going to be our running back 4. And then we just got a few picks left here. I have 3 bench spots, a defense and a kicker. I'm not going to pick a kicker or a defense. We'll just get 3 more flex plays and call it a day. But I do like Nyheim Hines. I like Alexander Mattison here. Isaiah Spiller is going to be the backup to Austin Eckler. At this point, I like grabbing backup running backs. Even Khalil Herbert here to be David Montgomery's handcuff is an interesting play. Matt Breida is the handcuff for Saquon Barkley. A lot of handcuffs could be at play. As far as the tight ends go, man, David Njoku, I have him as a top 10 tight end this season. You could even, get funky with the Chargers tight end, Gerald Everett. I'm interested in him for sure. Cole Kmet, Robert Tonyan, Evan Ingram, even in Jacksonville. There's a lot of tight ends. I think if you waited on tight end and you came away with David Njoku and Gerald Everett, you're probably going to be pretty happy with that. And as it lays, I I have Njoku as my tight end 9. I actually have him higher than Zach Ertz. I might have to revisit my Ertz projections, but Njoku came in really high. If Deshaun Watson's the QB man, and you're looking at Njoku being the number one. He had to split time with Austin Hooper the last couple seasons, but Njoku, they just paid him a ton of money. He might be the best sleeper tight end option of the season. So I love Njoku. I'll take him if I can. If you play in one quarterback leagues, I'm not drafting a backup quarterback, but if you play in Superflex leagues, I think you want Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa as your 2s this year, even Jameis Winston. So I highly advise if you're playing in QB1 leagues, get your quarterback early, get yourself a top 10 quarterback. Don't play that game. And maybe if you play Superflex, we'll get Trevor Lawrence. As far as wide receivers left, guys that I'm interested in, Jamison Crowder, man, he's going to be the slot receiver for Josh Allen. That's been a highly productive position for Cole Beasley in the last few seasons. So I like Jamison Crowder on my bench. Devontae Parker, probably the wide receiver 1 for Mac Jones. That's highly interesting here. But as it looks to be, we did not get David Njoku, but we're going to have the opportunity here to, Alexander Mattison, he's going to clog up a roster space, but if anything happens to Dalvin Cook, man, that is the play. That is definitely the play. So now we're 5 deep at running back here. I have 2 more picks left to make. Does anyone jump out? I'm going to go with Gerald Everett as my backup tight end to Zach Ertz. So he's going to be a guy, and keep in mind, Herbert the last 2 seasons with Jared Cook, and then the year before that with Hunter Henry, he produces with tight ends. And I think people are kind of sleeping on Gerald Everett this season. He's going to be on the field a lot. He's going to have the opportunity to catch 50 plus receptions this year. So Everett as your tight end 2 interests me a lot. And then defense and kicker, we're not going to make those picks. I'll make one more walk-off pick. It's probably going to be a backup running back here. Guys that interest me, Darrell Henderson, maybe even Gus Edwards. If I really want to go deeper, again, I mentioned I like Kenneth Gainwell, Khalil Herbert, another handcuff, highly intriguing guy there. And that's kind of where it lies here. So I think what we'll do is we'll sign out of this one. I'm going to end up drafting Darrell Henderson. Dang it. It looks like, did someone take my guy on me? Where's Khalil Herbert here? I'm going to move Khalil Herbert up. So Henderson, of course, the primary backup for Cam Akers. You got Herbert there, Edwards, and Gainwell. So we'll make that pick here after the auto picks roll through. And then we'll call it a draft, man. This was a lot of fun. Again, just being loose here, not really sticking to too many things. We started the draft with Cooper Kupp, came back with another receiver in T. Higgins, came back with another receiver, Michael Pittman Jr., came back with another receiver in Courtland Sutton. So this was a wild, heavy 4 wide receiver start. A lot of fun for sure. So let's make this final pick here. Darrell Henderson, back up to Cam Akers. It's the Rams offense, which is a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and just take Khalil Herbert, I guess. I liked what I saw last year. So we have a ton of running back tickets. We have McKissic, Mattison, Herbert, Chase Edmonds on our bench, A.J. Dillon, Clyde Edwards. So I got a lot of tickets here from my running backs. But keep in mind, draft kit is available. I want to thank you so much for your time. Check out the draft kit. It's only $15. Check out the projections, the cheat sheets, and we'll see you guys again this summer. We'll get Aiden and Justin in the next mock draft. So I appreciate your time. Thank you guys so much. Have a good evening, and we'll see you in a future video. Peace.